What up, what up? Synapse here. Today I want to talk a little bit about motivation because I've seen so many guys kind of come into game being like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna crush it, and they start out with a ton of energy, ton of motivation, ton of mental fortitude and power, and then they kind of just peter off and slow down. Right now, this is not everybody. Some people have like the fortitude to persevere even through those initial setbacks, right? Because game is so heavily front loaded, which means that all of the or a huge amount of your success or failure happens within the first 30 seconds of the interaction, which means in order to get those practice, the reps that you need to actually get good at those first 30 seconds, you're going to experience a lot of failure, especially at the beginning, because you haven't quite fine-tuned your presence within those first 30 seconds, even 15 seconds, right? Whether that is the distance you have from the girl, and mostly I'm talking about on the street, but this equally applies to bars and clubs. It's a little bit easier when girls are standing there and they're already ready to be approached. You don't have to worry so much about all of the sort of micro details, but they very much do still matter. So things, for example, like eye contact, how assertive and confident and compelling you come in, right? Whether you're speaking as if the other person needs to hear what you have to say, or are you coming in like, like asking to be allowed into her world, right? Obviously, we know what the right way to come in is, and it's not that. So because there's such this front-loading effect on especially cold approach, you're going to get shut down a lot at the beginning. And so what that means is you're going to have to exceed your own expectations, right, and your own goals, not fail to meet them, okay? So it's really crucial, especially at the beginning and for your long-term success, to not set massive, crazy goals if you aren't going to take the daily steps to, take and complete them, all right? It's really important to get these small wins, all right? So really pat yourself on the back for just doing more than you did the day before or the week before, all right? So if you're gonna go out, don't go out like as some new guy being like, I'm gonna do 500 approaches. Be like, look, let me just say hi to 5 girls today. Let me just say hi, that's it. Hi, and then I leave, I don't even say anything else, okay? And then the next day, take it a little bit further, and so on, and further and further and further, right? The key here is that you should set manageable goals, right? Now that doesn't mean like, let's say you say hi and the girl's like, oh, hi, like, who are you? Like, and ask you a bunch of questions. Doesn't mean you have to like run away, right? Once you're in that interaction, once you're in that situation, you can then take it further, okay? So what I really want you guys to get into the habit of doing, essentially, is setting small goals, rewarding yourself for small, consistent action, right? And then exceeding those goals in the moment because you're like, well, look, I'm already here. I already did this much work so far. It's not that hard to talk to another girl, or it's not that hard to say hi and then say a little bit more today, right? Or it's not that hard to, like, instead of just getting the line, to try to bounce her today, right? So in the moment, in the situation, try to reach for more than you've done previously. But before you set out, set your like minimum to do list as like a low standard, okay? A low and attainable standard that you will then increase over time, right? The opposite is, you set a huge goal, which is really ambitious, and you might do it for a day, you might do it for 2 days, but eventually you're going to like fail to meet that goal, or you might, right? Now, not everybody, of course, some people are going to just power through no matter what, but you might fail to meet that goal. It's just natural. It's just kind of the nature of the beast, nature of how this stuff works with rejection and human psychology. So it's much more effective. You feel much better about yourself if you set attainable goals, get small wins, attach your success or failure to your own actions, right? Did I do that minimal thing required today, and then exceed those expectations consistently for yourself. So, a really simple example would be like, let's take the gym, right? You say, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm just gonna run for 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes, no big deal, easy to do. You get on the treadmill, you're running, and you're like, wow, I'm already here, I'm already at the gym, I already have my shoes on, it's already been 4.5 minutes. You know what? Fuck it, let's go for 8 minutes today, all right? And you do 8 minutes, and you're like, wow, You get off the treadmill, you're like, that was still very manageable, right? But you still exceeded what you set out to do, okay? Now compare that to like starting from the beginning and be like, look, I'm gonna train for a marathon like a month from now, which means I need to run like 5 miles today and 7 miles, like however much it is. You are going to crash after you continuously fail to meet that goals, or after your goals are too high, okay? Now, people have different mental fortitudes, but for most people, I think it's most effective to set smaller attainable goals to get those wins, and then consistently, once you're there, once you're at that goal or at that stage, be like, wow, you know, I think I can do this. You know, it's not that much harder to go one step further. It's not that much harder to do one more approach before I go home, right? And then you push yourself, and then you set a habit of exceeding your own expectations, and that really, really will help you in the long term maintain your motivation, right? And play the long game, because ultimately it's not going to be about your results this week. It's not going to be about your results this month. Even like within 6 months, I want you guys to have a like year to 5 year time frame. Be like, look, what I do this week, I'm not doing it for the results I'm going to get this week. I'm doing it for the person I'm going to become by taking consistent action week in and week out for 6 months, for a year, right? Because it really will change your life if you dedicate yourself to consistent action. All right, same with anything, same with the gym, same with business, same with anything, all right? So that's really important as well. Another thing I want to talk about is giving yourself permission to fail and then get back on the horse, all right? I had both in game and in business what I've come to think of myself as a false start, or like jumping off the blocks too early, and it's a good thing, right? Like I shoot out of the gates with a ton of momentum and energy, and then like what I just described happened to me. Like I sort of ran out, I petered out, and I kind of fell off the horse, as it were, at the beginning of both my game career as well as my own business career. You know, I had a client, and then like I kind of fell off the ball. I got like complacent, and like everything dropped off, and I didn't quite do what I needed to do. But within about 6 months after that initial success, I realized, I was like, wait, I have not completed what I set out to do here. I looked back and I assessed myself honestly. I was like, look, I fell off the horse, right? I did not continue with the action that I wanted to do. I did not achieve the goals I wanted to achieve. And that's because I had these high expectations. I got some initial success, and then I kind of fell off, basically, right? And give yourself that permission to have that fall off, recognize it, and then get back on and be like, look, let's do this again. Because once you have a little bit of the taste of the success and then kind of peter out and lose momentum, it's all the more easy to recognize that when it's happening a second time. So then the second time, like 6 months down the line, even 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, however long it is, it's easy to realize, look, I fell off what I was originally setting out to do, but it's all right, because now I realize it, and I'm going to get back on the horse and double down, okay? There's going to be a million chances at every turn where you're going to have the ability to do one of two things. Either you can fall back into your old habits of mediocrity and the life that you used to live that has brought you so far, but ultimately is not where you really want to be, right? Or you can say, look, I slipped a bit, I didn't quite achieve everything I wanted to, I had some initial success, but you know what? Now is the chance. I'm going to double down on this. I've experienced a little bit of the ups and downs, and I'm going to double down, put more of my time, put more of my focus into this, and really continue until I succeed, because failure is not an option, right? If you can make that mental shift to doubling down, right, repeatedly, okay, and this will continue to happen. I think there's been several times, at least a dozen times in my sort of gaming career, as it were, where there's been a moment where I was like, look, I can get complacent, I can just coast, I can just chill, I can rest on my laurels, or I can double down. I can hit it twice as hard this next month. I can go, even faster, even harder, more venues, different places, hotter girls, all of these different things. If you can set your mind to being like, look, that was the past, now it's time to take it up a notch, or now it's time to get back on the horse and get back to like chopping that wood, get back to the long-term process. If you can keep at every opportunity, keep being like, look, it's time to double down, it's time to go back in extra hard, it's time to not give up, not fall off the horse, not slip into old patterns, not like hang around in my house playing video games, not doing X or Y, but actually going hard in the paint for what I really want. If you can keep doing that, sooner rather than later, you're going to see some massive changes in yourself, both regards to game, but this also pretty much applies to any other sort of serious discipline, right? The biggest ones that come to mind are like fitness and business, okay? So those are my tips today for staying motivated, getting back on like nanakorobi haoki, or it's the Japanese proverb of falling down 7 times, getting up 8. I really like this, right? Making sure that after, it's okay to fall down, it's okay to mess up, it's okay to lose momentum, but get back on the horse, right? And keep in mind the relation between how attainable your goals are and whether or not you meet them, right? Because if you continuously fail to meet your goals, you're kind of setting a precedent for yourself that's not going to psychologically help you, right? So you want to set small goals, and then consistently, once you've reached those goals, in the moment be like, look, I've already come this far, let's go a little farther today, right? If you can do that, that's going to set your mindset up in the right way to where you're going to be exceeding yourself, exceeding your own goals, growing, right? Just like a snail graduates, or like a hermit crab graduates to larger and larger shells, right? Or an animal like snakes shed their skin and grow bigger, right? All of these things are important for increasing your personal growth, personal development in these areas. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a beautiful weekend or week, depending on when I upload this. Alright, see you guys later.